Good morning, Bucknuts. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, July 6th, 2018. I am Dave Biddle. Very happy to be joined by Bill Bank Greene. Bank, good morning to you.
Hey, Dave. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Everything's good. All good.
Good, buddy. Hey, first thing, we've been talking so much about Zach Harrison on the site. Just want to get, what is your gut telling you about Zach Harrison? Where do you think he's going to end up?
Yeah, nobody knows. Zach is not a game player. This is the opposite of Jaden Woodbay. You know, he's figuring it out. And I think when he says he gets a little bit confused sometimes, I think he's telling the truth. My gut tells me that in the end, when he, closes the door and he's in his room thinking about this, I think he's going to go to Ohio State just because of the proximity. Would be better for his parents. His relationship with Larry Johnson is really strong. He's been a Buckeye fan. So I think everything fits there for him. But, we've thought this stuff before, and then, it doesn't work out. But, my crystal ball pick is on Ohio State for Zach. The thing that I think gives Ohio State fans some cause for optimism is that the team that seems to be battling them right now has changed. We had Penn State as that clear number 2 team for the longest time, and he really liked them. And now Michigan seems to be the clear number 2 team. So that it seems to be changing there, but Ohio State seems to be the constant. And, my experience with this over the years is the team that always seems to be there is usually the pick. Another key point is the point man for Michigan is assistant coach Al Washington, who's an amazing recruiter, great guy. But Al coaches linebackers at Michigan. His position coach would be Greg Madison if he went there, not Al Washington. So there's kind of a split there in where the relationship is. But with Ohio State, Larry Johnson, point man on the recruiting team, and he would be his position coach every day for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So I think in the end, I think there's enough tipping points that kind of tells me it's going to be Ohio State. So, but Zach, I think if he knew it was Ohio State, I think he'd commit today. I don't think he likes this stuff, and I think he wants to get it over with. But as long as there's a little bit of confusion there, I think he's going to take his time and figure it out.
Is there any chance Larry Johnson's longevity is a factor here, meaning like Zach Harrison might be convinced Larry Johnson's going to be here for his freshman year, maybe even his sophomore year, but might retire after that? Could that be a factor here at all, Larry Johnson's longevity?
It could be, and I don't know what Larry Johnson is telling Zach. Last year, Larry Johnson told Tyreek Smith and that group, Tommy Togai and Vincent, those guys, he told them that he would be here throughout their Ohio State career, which would be, everyone would assume to be 4 years, which would give Zach 3 years with him. So, if he's telling Zach that, then I don't think that's an issue. And so we'll see. But like I said, they did tell the group last year that Larry Johnson would see them through their career. So I think that gives Zach 3 years at minimum.
That was great news. Let's turn the page and look at some actual team talk, not recruiting. We're going to get into some 2018 Buckeye chatter this season. Let's start off with the offensive line. I read your chat yesterday. I thought it was really interesting. I know you have an opinion of who the 5 best offensive linemen are. Tell the listeners about that, if you would, Bank.
Well, I think Knox belongs in that group over Brady Taylor. And this comes from me having seen no practices in the spring, been in no meetings with the offensive line group. So, this is, it's what we do. I just think Knox proved himself last year as a guy who was capable of playing. And then, is Bowen going to be healthy? That is such a key. That guy was really good last year, and I don't think people gave him enough credit. I think he got lost there a little bit. He shouldn't have been. He was good. Michael Jordan needs to elevate his game a little bit. He kind of leveled off after that freshman year. And then you come to the tackles. And, is Isaiah Prince, is he ready to go to the left side? I don't know that. Bear Mumford, is he ready to be a full-time 75-play-a-game, every-down starter? We don't know that. There's question marks. But those would be my 5, having seen no practices and been in no meetings and watching no film of what's going on. But I think this offensive line is the biggest key to this team, to how they're going to do. I don't think the key is Dwayne Haskins. I think that this offensive line is great, then this team is going to be very, very hard to beat. If this offensive line is average, then things get a little trickier for them offensively. If some of these guys just aren't very good, and then Bowen gets hurt again, and the line is not very good, this team could lose 3 or 4 games. I think everything depends on this offensive line this year. And I think Greg Stadrara, I think there's pressure on him this year that, he has to have more than 5 guys ready to play. We've seen the past couple of years, as soon as there's an injury and somebody goes off that field, even if it's for a couple plays, well, it's ugly. Well, it can't be ugly this year. They've got to have more than 5 guys ready to play. I don't even know if they have 5 right now. But that's his job. That's why he gets paid. That's why he's here. So this is the key to the team. If someone could tell me right now this offensive line will be great through mid-January, then I would say they're probably going to be in the hunt for the national championship, maybe win the national championship. So we've got to see. We've got to see how things shake out this fall. And, this is the key to the team for me.
No doubt about it. And then if there's a key for the defense, it's got to be linebacker. They still, leaving spring, didn't know who any of their 3 starting linebackers would be. There's still the question mark about Tuff Borland. If he tore his Achilles, there's no way he's playing this year, in my opinion, so hopefully he didn't tear it. They just kept calling it an Achilles injury in spring when we would ask about it. They would not elaborate on it. But, if they don't have Tuff Borland, maybe Malik Harrison. I almost called him Zach Harrison. Maybe Malik Harrison is penciled in as a starter. Maybe that's the one guy. And you and I are both high on Pete Werner. Just how do you think they're going to – when Oregon State comes to town September 1st, how do you think they're going to line up as far as the starting linebackers?
Yeah, that's a great question there. The middle is the big bugaboo with them. Like I say, if Tuff Borland somehow is 100% ready to go, which I don't think is going to be the case, but if he is, then everything is pretty much set up. But if you have to put Baron Browning in the middle, which, man, I know they don't want to do that. He's too good of an athlete to be wasted in the middle, but you may have to do it. Or is Justin Hilliard ready to contribute? He was so highly thought of, seems like 10, 15 years ago. It wasn't all that long ago. So the middle is where things have to be solidified. Once you get that middle set, I think the outside is going to be fine. Werner can play. Werner is big time. I talked to Luke Fickell when I covered a Cincinnati camp, not this past summer, but last summer of 17, and he just raved about Pete Werner and what a steal that kid was and how lucky Ohio State was to get him. And Luke was a little resentful that he wasn't going to get to coach him. He really thinks so much of Werner, so that made it a big impression on me. Browning, I think, has all the characteristics to be a star. So, like I said, the outside guys, I think, will fit if they're allowed to stay on the outside. They got to get the middle set. And, whether that's Tuff Borland, Justin Hilliard, or whether you got to plug one of those outside guys in the middle and just, like you did last year with Worley and just try to get by, I don't know. But I agree with you. And I think, again, you got to bring up coaching there again. When you saw, every coach on the staff get a raise last year except one, then I think it's a big year for that coach this year also.
And last thing before I let you go, Master Teague, a lot of fans are high on him. He looked good in the spring. I think you're a little bit higher on Brian Snead, though. Just talk about the 2 freshman running backs and why you might like one more than the other.
Yeah, and this is an area where I always reserve the right to be a dummy. I just didn't see it with Master Teague, But I also didn't see it with Mike Thomas a few years ago, and he's not a bad player. I love Brian Snead. Everybody brags about the ones they get right. Don't they? You know, I got enough skeletons in my closet with the wrong ones, believe me. But I just love Snead. I think Snead he has everything he needs to be a superstar at the college level. Master Teague, I think, when I saw him at Ohio State's camp, I mean, I'm only going by that. I mean, he really struggled catching the football. I mean, you know, he made Paris Campbell look like Fred Biletnikoff when it came to hands. So that was like a sort of a red flag for me that you really, unless things change, you can't throw the ball to him. He seemed kind of stiff, and so we'll see. Like I say, when he rushes for 1,500 yards as a true freshman this year, then you can get me back on the show and say, hey, we want to bring this back up again. I like Snead better than Teague, but reserve the right to be foolish on this.
Good problems to have when you're talking about picking between guys like Master Teague and Brian Snead as true freshmen who are battling for the third-string running back spot. So Buckeye Nation problems. Bill Bank Greene, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate you coming on this morning.
Hey, Dave, no problem. Glad to be with you.
He comes strong every time, Bucknutters. He is Bill Bank Greene. You all know him and love him already. Thank you all for listening to the show. Thank you to Bank. Hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.